This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 117. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week and you stream 2 nights a week? How? Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, the Games Workshop pre-orders for Leviathan Box seem to go okay. There's a big old brand new Tyranid beastie, and one miniature managed to make its way out of Legends. But first, computer screens are square, websites are square. Coincidence? I think not. But no matter how far this conspiracy goes, Squarespace has got your back. Squarespace makes it simple to dive headfirst into website design with easy-to-use features and professional support from start to finish. You simply scan through the many award-winning templates on offer, pick the one you want, and just like that, you're customizing the look and design of your website with ease. And with Squarespace's patented fluid engine system, it's a breeze to design a website you can truly call your own. Drag and drop to your heart's content, Squarespace provides a simple solution to creating a storefront online, whether your products are physical, digital, or service-based. Now, selling your custom merch is easier than ever with Squarespace. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and when you're ready to dive in headfirst, you can use our link below or type in squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The Games Workshop Leviathan pre-orders seem to go okay. I think here in the States, the pre-order window lasted about 4.5 hours until they were out of stock. And anecdotally, from some comments, some people who were waiting on the box during that time said that the queuing was actually way down and it was taking like 1 to 5 minutes before from hopping into the queue to actually getting your thing, which at like the moment it opened, it was a very long time. But we here at EonsOfBattle Incorporated managed to get a hold of 2 copies. Very excited about that. Really excited to play 10th edition. Actually, we're so excited to play 10th edition that we usually play games on the weekends, but we actually like pretty much cleared our schedule because we were working on Sean's army. Sean plays Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum, for those of you who are hip. And his arm, like we all played in high school, 6th edition Warhammer all the time. It was so much fun. And so for 10th edition, we want to kind of recreate that high school feel. I'm gonna field my Necrons, Nick's got his blue orcs, and we're getting Sean's Guard all ready to rock and roll because that army is in rough shape. And actually, he has 60 guardsmen who all needed to be repainted. And so we took all of these models, we literally had to dust them off because they were just so old and caked up from sitting in a closet for so many years. And we assembly lined the whole thing. 4 of us, assembly line painting. We got 60 guardsmen done to the tabletop ready standard in 4 hours. It was wild. Just all of the boots, all of the pants, all of the flak armor, all of the las guns, all of the helmet, one after another, just steadily making our way through this whole pile of minis. And it was actually kind of fun. If you guys have an army that you just want to get done, you just want to get ready, a painting party could be kind of a fun thing. You know, maybe you get some drinks going, a little Mountain Dew, a little Baja Blast action if you can get it. It's a little rare, but you can find the Baja Blast in cans sometimes. And just work your way through the miniatures because it's kind of wild to see them go from primed to basically finished in a really short amount of time. And the last thing we actually tried was the Army Painter Dips, that weird product that you see every now and then on the shelves. It looks like a can of like paint thinner, and it works. It actually does work. I remember way back in the day, there was like a fad of using like wood stain to stain your miniatures. Man, way back in the day, you would take your model, you would paint it up, basic blocky colors, and then you would dip it into the wood stain, and then you would shake it off. Some people came up with like these little apparatuses to hook their miniatures onto a power drill, and then they would give them a spin, and that would get rid of some of the excess material. But it actually does work pretty well. It's probably not a product you'd want to use for like your beautiful minis that you really want to spend some quality time on. But if you're dipping your models in paint, you're probably just trying to get them ready to go, and you're not trying to do an absolutely perfect, pristine job. Although I do want to do some experiments with this stuff because it does seem really interesting. They have dark tone, strong tone, and light tone, which is dark tone is basically like Nuln Oil, although it's a black with just the right amount of brown in it. It's actually really nice because it doesn't change the color of your miniatures, but it has enough brown in there to make them look a little bit grungier and dirtier. And I wonder if it'd be a really, really good product to use on terrain. Strong tone and soft tone are just browns, and they just seem to brown stuff. I don't know how much I would use those because they're kind of a mid-tone brown. And so you'd have to paint your models really, really light to take advantage of that color. Where the strong tone just adds shadows and it's really, really nice. But assembly line painting 60 guardsmen. It's an interesting time. And I'm excited for 10th edition. I'm super excited for 10th edition and these new boxes. It'll be interesting to see what's gonna happen with the Leviathan box now, because roll back the clock to Indominus. Indominus launched and it was similar hype. Everybody was super, super pumped. And the box sold out in like 2 minutes. And then like a day went by and the internet went wild. Everybody made a YouTube video. Everybody was furious at Games Workshop, and kind of rightly so, because almost nobody got to have this box that was so crazily hyped. And then Games Workshop did a made to order, and that's how I got my copy. And so I wonder if they'll do a made to order with the Leviathan box. It would probably make sense. I mean, they probably made a lot of money because supposedly they made tons and tons and tons of these boxes and it's still sold out. There's a couple of places that still have them, but they're pretty much gone. Anecdotally, some Warhammer stores have apparently quoted people or like have told people that they're going to get a second wave of boxes for this upcoming weekend, which sort of makes sense because Games Workshop did do a 2-week pre-order window. So it would kind of make sense if when they were planning this whole thing out, they were planning on getting Warhammer stores 2 shipments of this box. So that might happen, who knows? But on eBay, the box is actually going for retail price, which I think is a very, very good sign that most of the people who wanted the box actually got a copy of it. And so they might skip a made to order. I mean, maybe they shouldn't because it's printing money. Like, if more people want this box and they're gonna pre-order it for real, because Games Workshop doesn't actually do real pre-orders. Their pre-orders are, we already made this stuff and we're just using pre-orders as a hype building tool so that people just get excited about it, where an actual pre-order is, you put the money down and then they make the thing and send it to you. So that's like a real pre-order. But I would bet they don't do it this time. And instead, they just immediately jump to taking the box and then turning it into other products, which is what they did for the old Indominus box too, where the Indominus box is now the 3 tiers of the like getting started in Warhammer boxes, where you've got the big $200 really expensive one that comes with some terrain. And then you got the medium one, which is kind of like the good one, which comes with a fair number of units, Necrons and Space Marines. And then you've got the little baby one, which is like 2 squads of Necrons, 2 squads of Space Marines and some dice. And hilariously, is like $5 more expensive than a box of Intercessors or a box of Necron Warriors. And so if you want to buy Necron Warriors or like Assault Intercessors, you should probably just buy that box, because for $5 extra, you get way more units than just buying those things separately. And so I assume we're gonna get something like that with the Leviathan box. And because Leviathan box contains a combat patrol inside of it, I would assume that those particular units that are going to be in that combat patrol are going to be turned into combat patrols. I don't know if they'll replace the current combat patrols, probably not. It would be kind of nice to have options, like options within combat patrol. If you want to play Tyranids and you want to go like really crazy heavy on Gaunts, you buy the current combat patrol. But if you want to get like not the Nero Gaunt, because that's not part of the combat patrol, but if you want to get some of the spicier units that come in Leviathan, then you buy that combat patrol. And I'm assuming some combat patrols are gonna change. Like the Necron combat patrol stinks. It was a really good combat patrol when it came out because it didn't contain any of the units that actually came in Indominus. And so if you bought Indominus, then this box would supplement your army really, really well with like the Doom Scythe and the Tomb Blades. And so, but in terms of a combat patrol, 1 squad of flyers and 1 squad of like cavalry is not that good a combat patrol. Like a combat patrol should probably be like a hero, a good smattering of infantry, and like 1 special thing, not 3 special things. So I would assume some of the combat patrol boxes are going to be switched around and changed. I really hope that the Death Watch combat patrol changes, because it's just kind of lame. I mean, it doesn't even come with the Death Watch. Like, I get the Games Workshop's not really pushing the old Marines, but the Death Watch were the newest of the old Marines and they still look pretty great. and come with way more weapon options than the normal intercessors. Although, reading some of the rules that have come out recently, the Death Watch have kind of lost their special issue ammunition and instead it's become like a stratagem. And the one nice model that the Death Watch Combat Patrol does come with is it comes with the Apothecary, and the Apothecary is looking really, really spicy. Like the Apothecary with the Hellblasters looks like it's gonna be a really, really sick little unit, which is great because Hellblasters have kind of been really bad, but I like Hellblasters with an Apothecary is looking like it's gonna be really, really slick. But the Death Watch Combat Patrol should come with things that are a little bit more Death Watch than just some intercessors and some aggressors and an Apothecary. It does feel, I mean, it should come with the Watchmaster at the very least. So I would expect to see some of the combat patrols shift around a little bit now that Games Workshop is really focusing on this new style of play, which I'm really excited for. I think that it is a perfect thing to do because although 10th edition and reading all of these rules is getting me really excited and it's reminding me of like high school when I would just ignore my classes and just read my Space Marine and Necron Codex over and over and like list build on my homework on the sides and in the margins. But I never have time. I never have time for stuff like that anymore. And so it'd be great to just be like, Sisters of Battle Combat Patrol, that's what I'm playing right now. Just grab those models off the shelf, put them on the table, and I'm playing, as opposed to carefully list building and figuring everything out perfectly. I'm really excited. Combat Patrol is kind of like Kill Team 40K, because Kill Team is actually not that much like 40K. It is its own skirmish thing, doing its own thing over there, and Kill Team is really, really good, and I really love Kill Team. I've pretty much taken 9th edition Warhammer off in order to play so much Kill Team, and I absolutely love it. But Combat Patrol is looking really good. And it's a really good, you can buy just this one box and you're good to go. And even if you paint up the box and it's like, this isn't my favorite army that I want to invest all of my time for the next bunch of years into, you still get the opportunity to experience that army and what it has without needing to go full 2,000 point absolute craziness. Which I have some more of those in me, but I don't know how many more. I mean, definitely Grey Knights, definitely Sisters of Battle, definitely Dark Eldar, probably maybe Dark Eldar, but really, really excited for Combat Patrol. But out of nowhere, Games Workshop showed off a brand new, sort of new, Tyranid unit in the Resurrection of Deathleaper. Although it's so different from old Deathleaper, I would pretty much say that it is a brand new miniature. The title of this article is one of my favorites that Games Workshop has ever made. Celebrate 500,000 Instagram followers with the Tyranid Deathleaper. I don't get why the community has clickbait headlines. It just seems like the dumbest thing, and it makes it impossible to search stuff. It's so hard to actually search for things on the Warhammer community page because of these clickbait like titles. It's wild. But this miniature is glorious. I was talking with some folks and they were thinking that this might be model of the year. And I definitely think it's in the running. And I have to go back through the catalog, which unfortunately Games Workshop, when they do their end of the year, which model won overall, they never provide pictures of the miniatures. And I don't remember every single miniature you came out with this year. Like they should have pictures so that I'm actually refreshed, because almost always things that come out later in the year that are still fresh in the brain win model overall. And so, I don't know. But Deathleaper is really, really good. It's super creepy. It's got weapons coming out the wazoo, and it has a cape. A Tyranid organism that has a cape. And my instant reaction was really weird, but it's really, really growing on me. It actually reminds me of like, maybe it's a more aquatic animal. I mean, nothing else about it really looks aquatic. I guess the sort of tentacly Davy Jones face is a little nautical, you could say, but the tail is so weird. And then it's got like an out of the back tail coming out of its back. It's so weird. I kind of like to think that little tail that's coming out of its head chest region is kind of like in Starship Troopers, the brain bug, when it had its little proboscis and it would stick it into people's brains and literally suck out the brains, and you saw the little brains going through the tube, and it's really gross and disgusting. But man, I love Starship Troopers. And I'm gonna get some bugs. I'm gonna get some bugs of my very own with Leviathan, and I might need to get this bug too. because I really like the Von Ryan Leapers. I think that they are a lovely, lovely new-ish version of the old Leapers. Although they're not the Leapers, they're the Von Ryan's Leapers, and they're not like one operative working alone. They're kind of pack hunters like the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park. I don't know exactly what the deal is. Is Games Workshop just gonna keep the classic lictors around? I mean, I have some on the shelf behind me, so I guess that would be fine. I can just repaint those, and then I'll have the Von Ryan Leapers and the regular lictors. So it's interesting. I don't know how Games Workshop makes decisions like that, of which models stay and which models go. I mean, is there a big difference between Primaris Intercessors and Tactical Marines? Tactical Marines do have a little bit more flexibility, like they can take a plasma gun or a las cannon, although the Intercessors can also take like a Thunderhammer on the Sergeant, so it's kind of just two different ways to get the exact same like points value and weapon value in your squad. They're very, very similar. And so presumably Lictors and Von Ryan Leapers are going to be very similar miniatures, but Death Leaper is absolutely glorious. The cape is just amazing. I wonder in the design phase when they're just putting pictures like sketches up on a board and they're just making little Sharpie marks and being like, I like these features, maybe this becomes a little bit smaller. Who was the person who got up and drew a cape over a lictor? Because whoever they are, they need a raise. It's really interesting and funny and definitely makes this model stand out a ton. I can't wait for like Adepticon, or at least even for just this model to come out and see some other people's paint takes on this miniature. Although I like the Games Workshop color scheme. It seems like Games Workshop uses not Behemoth, they use Leviathan for their color scheme, but they seem to be kind of changing Leviathan. Like Leviathan used to be purple and then bone color, where now the purple is getting a lot darker and scratchier, and then the red accents are coming into the purple carapace. And so it's kind of like an evolution versus like the Tau, who used to be the classic Tau color scheme, which is called Tau because the homeworld of the Tau is called Tau. But now they use V or La color schemes for any new Tau miniatures coming out, because I guess it's just like a little bit more punchy, white and red. But the Tyranids. The Tyranids are glorious. It's so weird and creepy. It's standing quite a bit prouder. It's got a chunk of like a Mechanicus basing scheme, which is it's not a tactical rock, and it actually makes for a really, really nice kind of diorama style base. But I mean, I'm gonna rip all of that off and put on wood chips and putty so that he's standing on a rock, because I think for my Tyranid, which I'm like 80% sure I'm gonna go with Behemoth, the red and blue color scheme. I think I'm gonna go with a jungle that's being terraformed by the Tyranid. So I'm gonna get some plants, maybe some of those laser cut plants from Gamer Grass, or some epic basing plants. I want like a forest with 10 evil tendrils of green stuff coming out as the Tyranid bioorganisms taking over the landscape. So I think that's what I'm gonna go for my basing scheme. Although, maybe that little plinth, that little bit of Mechanicus basing with some Uhu glue, like sticky, gooey tendrils of like acidic spit saliva, that could actually look really, really nice. I don't know, I'll have to get this miniature in hand. It is beautiful, it is glorious, it is gonna look so good with a Zenithal, holy cow. Because it's got so much presence and so many limbs and arms. It's gonna have some beautiful weapon profiles. I like that, like a Velociraptor claw, like they have that one claw that's way bigger than the other ones. And so this guy, one of his claws is like 4 times the size of his other claws, which would make holding things a little bit tricky, because lictors are smart enough to be able to manipulate like some like they can't hold guns, but they can open doors and figure stuff out like that. And so I love him trying to use this weird hand to manipulate technology. Baltimore has a wonderful video. I can't remember if it's video on Lictors or Death Leaper, of a Death Leaper who's terrorizing this Imperial like agent or Imperial king, and every single night the Leaper is just waiting for him over the bed just to spook him, just to make him nervous. Every single night he's just sitting there. It's a beautiful. I love Baltimore. He's really, really good storyteller. The Lictor. 10 out of 10 miniature. Man, the other stuff that I really liked, the Japanese samurai vampire Warcry faction. That was a really good thing that came out this year. But what else was amazing? Ooh, you know what? You know what's model of the year, 2023 model of the year? Those missile launcher Space Marines. Oh man, those miniatures. When I was reading the rules for 10th edition Space Marines, I kept seeing their name. What are they? They're not the Eradicators. They're not the Hellblasters. They're like the Annihilators. And I'm like, what the heck is that? Oh, it's the big Nerf gun guys. I would almost like to buy that unit and then try to kit bash or convert them, maybe get some Anvil Industry bits to try to make them cool. Because man, currently they're just not cool. Like, it's kind of fun, the ridiculousness of those giant guns, but overall, man, that unit is just, it's just rough. It's just really rough, unlike the Lictor, unlike the new Death Leaper. New Death Leaper is perfect. But one thing, actually, I was really shocked to see in reading the new Space Marine rules in the free index PDF, whatever, online that takes an hour and a half to open because it's so many pages, is that Games Workshop promised us that the 30K miniatures for Space Marines were getting yanked from the Codex, and that was mostly true. And I also wonder if that's gonna be really bad news for 30K, because I know a lot of people were buying 30K models to use in their 40K army, and although 30K is like a big deal, I don't know anybody who plays it. Like, anybody. Like, the Age of Darkness box sold really well, but I don't know. I don't see a lot of 30K stuff going on online. I'm a part of some Facebook groups. I don't see a crazy amount of activity there. I wonder how 30K is doing. I would like to know. I know it exists. It's not at all a dead game, but with the loss of 30K units being able to be used in 40K, I wonder if that's also going to hurt it just a little bit. But the exciting thing I saw was I literally just bought some Contemptor Dreadnoughts. And then I saw the article that said that those things are not going to be usable in 40K. And I'm like, darn. I mean, they are going to be usable as Legends of the Horus Heresy. So they're going to have some rules that I can use, but they're not going to be updated. But it's always fine using the old models rules. But the Contemptor Dreadnought has actually stuck around. Not with all of the coolness that the 30K Dreadnought has access to, but if you want to take the Multi-Melta or the Assault Cannon, that and the Dreadnought Close Combat Weapon, that particular loadout is still ready to rock and roll, which is good. I think that would probably not the Assault Cannon, because a Dreadnought can usually do more than shoot with an Assault Cannon. It's usually you definitely don't want to go with like the Heavy Bolter. I don't even think that's an option anymore. It used to be for Dreadnoughts, but Assault Cannon, kinda but Melta and Close Combat Fist, that's something. Especially for a Black Templar player like me, where I wanna get everything into the face of the enemy. I think that is still a pretty good thing. You can't take like the twin Volkite Annihilators and then the Roof Rack Missile Launcher, which everybody was taking like 3 of when it was really good for lore reasons. Definitely not because it was an amazingly cheap way to bring a ton of crazy powerful firepower to bear. But it's interesting to see that one miniature has stuck around in 40K, and it could just be because it's a major thing for the Adeptus Custodes. And so if the Adeptus Custodes get to have it, then I guess all of the Space Marines get to have it. And it must be like the top seller for Forge World, the Contemptor Dreadnoughts. I know they did just kind of get rid of most of them, but you can still buy the torsos. But I think the Contemptor, they made a Contemptor Dreadnought for every single Space Marine Legion in 30K. So they must sell pretty decently if Games Workshop made 18 of those things. They should have made 20 for the Lost 2nd and 11th Legion, which is very spooky and mysterious. But good old Contemptor Dreadnought sticking around. It would have been cool to keep the Leviathan Dreadnought, because I've always wanted to see what that thing does. Just this absolute brick of a Dreadnought running around. And I'm very excited that the Ironclad Dreadnought has actually managed to stick around. I was very nervous that one would disappear because nobody really cares about the Ironclad Dreadnought. It's a really cool looking little Dreadnought with a little bit of extra armor and some interesting close combat weapons, but it does feel very Black Templars because it's a little bit more close combat focused, and it's got the Hurricane Bolters, which is part of our unique Land Raider, the Land Raider Crusader, discovered by the Black Templar, the STC construct that lets us build those things, and we fill it full of Crusader squads, Centurions, all sorts of awesome stuff can go in there. And it has the rule where you can actually charge after you've exited it, because it's got the the door in the front where it literally drives itself through buildings and then the doors open and everything comes out. Good old, it's a good time to be a Black Templar player. It's been the worst time to be a Black Templar player for most of 40K. They've been so bad. Crusader squads were literally just Space Marine tactical squads that couldn't bring any of the fun stuff. Like, just normal Space Marines with chainswords were garbage for the longest time. Literally, I had so many Crusader squads that I kit bashed, and eventually I just ripped all of the backpacks off and glued on some jump packs just so that they had some ability to do something in the game. But now that we have beautiful Primaris Crusader squads and new Primaris rules, it's a good time. It's a very good time to be a Black Templar player. And I get to paint my Contemptor Dreadnoughts and have current rules for them. I could see maybe me finishing my Contemptor Dreadnoughts and then the Space Marine Codex comes out and the Contemptor Dreadnought is no longer in there. That would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny, but it's not gonna happen. The Contemptor Dreadnought is here to stay. You heard it here first, people. I have the inside scoop from Games Workshop, which is absolutely not true. We've never gotten so much as an email from them, but that's that in my heart of hearts. I know that that's what's going to happen. I've sort of started a whole bunch of 40K armies. I have a 2,000 point unpainted Grey Knight army. I have one box of Sisters of Battle that I'm convinced is one day going to become a full army. And I have a bunch of Dark Eldar because I've just been sniping them here and there on eBay when they're really, really cheap because no one really cares about the Dark Eldar, sometimes called the Drukhari for some reason. But Tyranids are happening. I literally have so many Tyranids that are somewhere between Games Workshop and the friendly local game store I like to go to. Really excited. Behemoth. I'm gonna have to get really good at red really, really fast. I was painting some Black Templar this week. I didn't get them done, but I've been working on my Black Templar color scheme for years and years and years and years now. And I've really got it down to a science. And like I use inks for certain things. I use contrast paint for certain things. And I've got it exactly figured out to the best possible degree of how I like to paint them. And so I really want to figure out how quickly can I get there with a new Tyranid color scheme. I don't think I've ever actually painted a test model in my life, but I think it might be time. Because if I can whip something up and it's gonna be red and blue and be fine. But I would like it to be a scheme that I absolutely love to paint. Like I love to paint my new Black Templar because I can get the base coats done so fast and then I just get to spend all of my time putting on decals and perfecting all of the little things. And that's what I want with my Tyranid. I also want something that I can just get to the 80% mark so fast and have it look decent, and then spend all of my time on the little perfections and the little finesse things that I really, really enjoy doing. It'd be really funny to put a bunch of decals on the Tyranids. For some reason, Tyranid models don't come with decal sheets. I don't know why. I don't know where you would put them. There's really no surfaces on Tyranids that would accept a transfer because they're just so bumpy and organic. But there's probably a way. There'd probably be like maybe some interesting kind of stripes or shapes. I know with the Age of Sigmar, with all of the Stormcast Eternal creatures and some of the new Seraphon, they have these crazy patterns. I don't think those would be impossible to pull off with decals. I think Games Workshop's decal department, which has been doing a very good job on the manufacturing side, because the new decal sheets are beautiful compared to the old ones. They're really, really high quality. But I would like to see them actually try to push the actual like engineering a little bit further so that you can get some more interesting things going on with decals than is currently available. Because right now it's just Ultramarine symbol. That's pretty much what a decal is. But if they like it's like kind of like a Papakura, like that papercraft hobby, where they take like a 3D shape and then they unwrap it and it looks unrecognizable unwrapped, but then you put it back together and then all of a sudden looks amazing. I bet there's ways to do that with decals. You see it a little bit with Lego, like some of the Star Wars cockpits are stickers and you have to really finagle it and fold everything into position and then it looks really good. I bet there's a ways. Games Workshop, if you ever email us, that's gonna be one of my suggestions, is make really interesting decals that can do a lot of things. I would absolutely love to see that because I love a good decal. I love a decal. I love putting on decals. It just makes me happy. And it'd be really cool to have more things to do with decals. As much as I love decals though, there's one thing I love even more, and that's our Patreon. Over there, we make a brand new STL terrain pack every single month. This month, we have the Gothic Modular Trenches, a beautiful customizable network of places for your guys to walk and hide from the enemy. Perfect for games like Warhammer 40k, which just got a new edition with 10th edition, and I'm really excited for it. And we made a whole board, and it's gonna be beautiful, and we're gonna play this weekend. We make one extra episode of Eons of Battle every single week where we take a look at our viewers' miniatures and give some ideas and critiques of how to improve their painting. We host live Discord hangouts, and we have a tier where you can get your name on one of my Black Templar Space Marines, and you can join the Immortal Crusade. We also stream 2 nights a week over on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Central Time. I am all in on Leviathan, super excited for 10th edition. Reading all of the data sheets that Games Workshop has been showing off has been reminding me a lot of high school, and reading my ratty copy of the Necron 5th edition Codex and just coming up with every little combo that isn't actually a good combo, but I think it's a good combo, and I'm scribbling things into the books. Ooh, also, let me know, I would like to know this about people in the comments below. When you have a codex, do you keep it absolutely beautiful, pristine, perfect? Or do you highlight and Sharpie and cross stuff out and write the erratas in the margins? Because that's what I like to do, and I love it. It makes it feel like it's my book and that it's like my sacred tome of Warhammer 40k knowledge. But I think some people think that that's absolutely sacrilege. So yell at me in the comments below. Thanks for watching.